Allahu Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Ahmaduhu wasta'inahu wastadihi wastaghfiruhu wa u'minu bihi jalla wa ala wa la akfuruhu wa ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. As-salahu bil huda wa din al-haq liyadhhiruhu ala din kulihi wallahu karihal mushrikun. All praise belongs to Allah. We praise Him, we seek His help, His assistance, and His guidance. We believe in Him and do not disbelieve in Him. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is His servant and messenger. Allah sent Him, that is Muhammad, with Deen al-Haq, the religion, the way, the methodology of truth. This way of life, known as Islam, will rise to its proper position in this world, whether the mushriks like it or not. Amma ba'd, فَإِنَّ أَصْدَقَ الْحَدِيثِ كِتَابُ اللَّهِ فَمَنْ يُرِيدِ اللَّهُ أَنْ يَهْدِيَهُ يَشْرَحْ صَدْرَهُ لِلْإِسْلَامِ. Those whom in Allah's plan He will to guide, He guides them to Islam. Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu attaqullaha haqqa tuqatihi wa la tamutuna illa wa antum muslimun. O you believe, fear Allah as He should be feared, and do not die except in a state of Islam. وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا. In this word, وَاعْتَصِمُوا, the Arabic word asama, in the old days stood for the capital city in a region, because, or a fortification. Something that's well fortified, something that's well protected. So when this ayat says, وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا, fortify, secure, protect your religion altogether, jami'an, by the rope which Allah stretches out for you, and be not divided amongst yourselves. Because division causes weakness, harm, ill treatment by the disbelievers, and it causes the Muslims to wander in their direction toward the correctness of Islam. Kuntum khaira ummatin ukhrijat lin-nasi ta'muruna bil ma'rufi wa tanhauna 'anil munkar wa tu'minuna billah. You are the best peoples evolved or raised up for mankind, because you enjoin the right, you forbid the wrong, and you believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Again, in this word, if you see over the door, there's a sign which means exit, to leave, to go out of. In the beginning of Islam, there was a group of people called Khawarij, which is plural for Kharaj, to go out, to exit. They were so Islamic in their behavior that they went out of Islam. They were so correct, so overbearing. I'm sure you've seen a few of them running around, that they went out of Islam. They were too correct, too Islamic. That's why there's a group, they call them Khawarij, the ones that exited Islam. They went out of Islam. And while we're on the subject, everybody is hooked up on who's right and who's wrong about Islam and on what madhab to follow. And there's no madhab or no madhahib in Islam. Well, believe it or not, in the beginning of Islam, there were technically hundreds of madhahib. You know why? Remember the hadith go as far as China, you know, and da-da-da-da. Well, just imagine a group of Muslims did go to China. And when they spread Islam, those few people that went to China, right, they accepted and they studied what that group of people had encapsulated as Islam. They prayed the way they prayed, they fasted the way they fasted, and so the people there that they taught followed them in detail. If they played like this, they followed them. If they prayed like this, they followed them. If they prayed like this, they followed them. If they prayed like that, they followed them. Why? There was not 4 or 6. Like right now in Islam, we have basically 6 madhahib, 6 madhabs. 4 Sunnis and 2 Shia madhahib. Now, Sheikh Shaltut, in 1954, his fatwa on madhahib was that any that follow those 6 schools of thought, 2 Shia and 4 Sunni, any that follow their original context, their original text, are within the framework of Islam. That's what he said at Azhar in 1954. That was during the heyday of Ikhwan al-Muslimin. So what he was saying was, in knowing the history of Islam, wherever people went in the early days, they followed that school. So if a handful of brothers went to China, they followed everything that and the people taught them what they knew, right? Now, a group that went to Iraq and went to Tabriz and went to other places, they followed that group of people. They taught them Islam, and they were being taught what those people learned, right? So way back when, there were technically hundreds of madhahib groups, madhabs. Then they codified it down to 2 Shias and 4 Sunni madhahib. Okay. I want to say that because we use a few words. Kuntum khayra ummatin ukhrijat lin-nas. You're the best people evolved or raised up for mankind. You know, that means that wherever you came in your Islam, or however you came to your Islam, as you stayed in Islam, you grew, you developed, and you emerged out of whatever you was in before. You expanded. You didn't become smaller. You didn't shrink. Right? You didn't shrink. You grew, you expanded, and because your knowledge of Islam grew. If you came into Islam and you were part of groups of people who had broad knowledge, big knowledge, right? A comprehensive knowledge, then you became broad. You became comprehensive, right? If you listen to a small teenage group of Muslims who are pea-brained, right, small-minded, and always right, and everybody's going to hell but them, you're in a lot of trouble. You got to step back and get comprehensive. Join the whole ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The hadith is very clear. Those that face our qibla, those that eat our meat, and those that go through our processes, they are considered Muslims. Right? Y'all remember the hadith? Okay. So if somebody come to you and tell you one hadith that they love, and you don't follow, you going to hell because it's 72 different sects, and all of them going to hell but us. They got one hadith they lean on. You got to be careful of that. That is ignoramus maximus. That's ignoramus maximus, I'm telling you. Of course, y'all know what that means. That means they're grossly big, ignorant. You don't wear your pants a certain way, you're going to hell. Bid'ah. They got Negroes that used to come in here talking about bid'ah. I said, thank you very much. We can do without y'all. And you can see it's a handful of us here today. You can go on back where you came from. Please don't come by here talking that small talk about Islam. Because we have billions of Muslims all over the world, right? And all of them that say La ilaha illallah, Muhammadan Rasulullah, and they point toward the Qibla, and they pray in our basic form, but they don't do this, that, and other. Well, look, even in prayer, tell the truth, certain things are fard in prayer, and certain things are sunnah in prayer, right? Just like everything we do. Wudu, how many times should you wash? What's fard? Anybody know? One time. One. 3 times is sunnah, right? Now everybody knows that, not everybody, but other people, they'll panic. That's sunnah. There are many things that we do during Ramadan, many things that we do all of our life. Some of them are fard, and unless you study the books of fiqh, you'll think it's all straight out what we do. Some of those things in prayer are fard. Qiyam, ruku, sajda, and qiyam again. Those are fard. Subhana Rabbi al-Ala is sunnah. Right? The books of fiqh, am I lying up here? If I start lying, somebody holler real quick. So people will come to you when the Negro specialists, Islamic specialists, come to you and start hollering, this is haram, that's haram, and they done broke up the unity of the whole Muslim ummah. وَتَعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا supersedes all that nickel and dime stuff that they bring. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying it directly in Quran. وَتَعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا. Hold on all together by the rope which Allah stretches out to you. Jami'an, Jamma, Jamal Yad, closed fist. Jami'an, Salatul Jum'ah, congregation, together, right? Maximum numbers, not individualism. You get your praying by yourself, sure. But you get more, 25, 27 times in Jama'ah. See, the thing about Islam, it's not a spectator's religion. like a spectator sport, something you watch. It's something you do, right? You get involved. So we just want to remind ourselves, today we're facing maximum fitna. And the Muslims are being misdirected and misguided by people who think they're doing right, but they don't know right from wrong. They're putting things, see, it's safarida, it's hard for us to be unified. Why? That's what Allah said. Wa'tasimu, right? Bihablillahi jami'an. All of the word structure means hold fast all together by the rope which Allah stretches out for you, and be not divided. One Negro specialist on Islam, in fact, he was in the penitentiary. I went out there, Maryland. This is a federal penitentiary out there. I haven't been out there since. So the guy asked me, "Where's Allah?" I said, "As far as I know, Allah is everywhere, comprehensive." He said, "Allah is on the throne. And his throne is over the waters." You know, like saying Ayatul Kursi, the throne. I said, "So Allah is sitting on the throne and the throne is over the waters?" "Yes, that's what it says." I said, "Well, the Quran said Allah is closer to you than your jugular vein, your life vein. So here's Allah right here in my neck." "Astaghfirullah." I said, "Well, yeah, I'm going by what you said." And at that time, they was following a guy, big sheikh in Saudi Arabia called bin Baz. I said, "Another thing, your great leader, the Quran says, since we're still dealing with that, those who are blind in this world will be blind in the hereafter. So if your sheikh is blind over there in Saudi Arabia, right? I'm just take it like it's going now. I'm telling you, try to travel with me a little bit, using the environment, using the language, using everything that we're dealing with. And I don't believe Allah is right here in my neck at all. But I'm just talking to him to try to shake him up a little bit. Allah is on the throne, and his throne is over the waters." I just said, of course, there's a hadith. I said, that probably ain't what it means. It could mean that Allah is not restricted to anything like that. This is insanity. Allah is on kursi, is sitting on the throne. The throne is over the waters. And I said, "Oh, no. I said, you're not getting me into no shirk. You're not going to get me to limit Allah. Allah is sitting on the throne." I said, "Man, look, let me tell you something. A lot of the people, they're not using rationality in their approach to Islam." And then it goes on to encourage us. وَاتَّصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا. Hold on all together by the rope which Allah stretches out to you, and be not divided. Anybody in this modern world that's causing fitna and division amongst the Muslims has a psychological problem. Why do I say that? It's because we have the Zionists, we have the Americans, we have all kind of Western plots against Islam and against Muslims. And I accept the hadith that we always talk about. Accept Allah as Lord. Islam Adina, or Islam is the way of life, right? and Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as Khatam and Nabiyeen, the seal of the prophets. I don't want to go stretching out, but they got different groups around. They got 7% of what they do is good. But they got another 2 or 3% that say, after Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they say, they take the word khatam and they make it mean all kind of stuff. Not just a seal, there's a lock here, there's a lock there, you can look under there, there's a lock under. So you know what I do with them? I say, I see y'all a little later. One of them had a book display not far, right around there, and they kept coming by wanting me to come. So first time I didn't come. Finally, I went around, right around the corner. I looked at all the books because one of the translations of the Quran I like. In fact, when we were in the Nation of Islam, it was Maulana Muhammad Ali. It's the first English translation, technically, of Quran. And so we all liked that. The footnotes were clear and everything. In fact, when we used to study in Oakland with a group of brothers from Sudan and everything, tafsir of Quran, you know, the one we was reading out of, and we read the English commentary, mainly Yusuf Ali and Maulana Muhammad Ali. They said that guy his commentary is more like ours, meaning like the Arabic tafsir that they've been reading all their life. So this guy was more like right on the money, except one thing they would try to slide in on the side. That Ghulam Ahmed, 1908, that period, he had received revelation after Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And some called him a prophet. The Qadianis, y'all I know since me beating around the bush, we've all heard about the Qadianis, you know, so, so this is just last year. So a lot of things they said was very good. There was two things that might have been funny about him. One, during the colonial period, the British supported them a lot. I'd make you suspicious right away. So they could spread their brand of Islam, right? And they was a little light on jihad. They had the far jihad, the near jihad. They had a lot of kind of stuff going on. But it was very close to true Islam, except that part. So when I went around there last year, this year sometime, I wanted to see if there was any evolution. So the guy with the Imam was well-studied Imam, young, energetic, you know, not the old type like when I was coming up. You know, real encyclopedic, you know, everything. So I was asking him questions based on, so what's y'all position on Khatam and Nabi? Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Quran refers to him as Kafata and Lil-Nas, the messenger to him. And Khatam and Nabiyeen, the seal, the lock. And he went Negro on me. Boy, he come up with all kind of explanations. See, lock means this, and lock means that. I shut down. After the third lock, I shut down. I just listened to the rest because he was being slick. You know what I mean? And I said, well, if they would have just made Ghulam Ahmad kind of like a mujaddid or something, reviver, renewer, that'd be fine. Because there's some of them that do. They say he was a mujaddid, not a prophet. But this crew, no. Ghulam Ahmad the Great was, he was not, the prophet, peace be upon him, was not seal of the prophets. Seal mean listen, see, he used some words, I didn't even know what they meant. Arabic, khatam for this, khatam for that. When you put an envelope together, see that it's not khatam, because the glue can come off. I said, okay, fine. What I'm telling everybody here, dear believers, the hardcore essence of Islam is what we need. The great fundamentals. When it says, وَتَسِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا, and hold on all together to the rope which Allah stretches out for you, and be not divided. Be careful of the slick Negroes who follow Sheikh Muga Booga somewhere. And he's telling you that's the Sheikh. That's the only Sheikh. And I know one group of brothers was telling me, Imam Musa, you wear your pants way like down like that. And this is makruh. I said, couldn't be. I said, why? I said, don't you read the hadith? See if any of y'all remember this one. So the people were gathered there, and Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu said, "O Rasulullah, I wear my pants long." He said, "Yeah, but you don't do it out of arrogance." Right? Anybody remember that hadith? Right? This is a hadith. This is a big, strong hadith. He said, "Yeah, okay, you could wear it, but you're not wearing it by the style." I don't know if y'all remember, but when I was coming up, you used to wear your pants real long, and the main thing that would stick up was your knob. Y'all didn't wear knobs. The knob on it, what you shine real good on your shoes. Stacey Adams, old time Stacey Adams, and you had a low heel. You chopped your heel, and that knob would stick up, and that was sharp. And you wore your pants low to go down. That's just a style now. So if you did that, then you might be out of line because you was trying to be sharp. But if you just wear your pants long because you got an ugly ankle or something, anything like that, that's fine. So be aware. What I'm trying to say is be aware of people who are trying to, Islam, and Islam is so big. Imagine if all the trees were pens and all the oceans were pens, right? You couldn't exhaust, right? Writing about Allah, right? You couldn't. So when somebody tried to restrict your deen to one weak or suspicious hadith, your whole life depends on that. Something's wrong. And it's all right for them to call all the other Muslims kafirs and non-believers. Some go so far as to say their blood is halal. That's brand new. You don't find that nowhere in hadith and nowhere in the Quran about the blood of a believer being halal. And the most ignorant, and I'm saying this because these people do exist. They're funded by Saudi Arabia, the most criminal organization, right? Islamic by name in the world. Those bums over there, you can like it or not, I'm just trying to tell you what we know. Why? Saudi Arabia, the richest Arab country in the world, up until a few months ago, was slaughtering the group of Arabs who are the poorest Arabs in the world, but they're next door to each other. Isn't that right? Saudi Arabia slaughtering the people of Yemen by hired troops they brought in from all over the world, right? Something is wrong with them. Instead of helping them with all of their wealth, power, and prestige, they're going to organize themselves and all their resources, and now they've joined the Zionists, right? Y'all read it. To kill the poorest Arabs in the world. We're not down with that. Those are people that want to make Islam small. They're small-minded, and they're trying to make you small instead of broad. When you became a Muslim, man, the whole world, people became your family. The world's people. We go to Arab countries, the people are happy to see us. When I'd go to Pakistan, everybody in Pakistan is people still play a lot of, what's that, not baseball, but the thing, cricket. And all the black stars are from the islands and all of that. Guess what the kids in Pakistan would do? They'd follow me because they knew I had to be, wherever I went in Pakistan. If I was in Karachi, if I was in Lahore, it didn't make no difference. Way up in Islam, it didn't make no difference. They were following me around. Why? They knew I had to be a cricket star. Right? They had to know I had to be a cricket star because all the black people they saw was cricket stars. They was good. The brothers from the islands and all of that. So that's the way they looked at me. This guy, that's of course when I was younger, I'm telling you, Islam don't shrink you and make you smaller, it make you bigger. Who are these idiots? I shouldn't call them idiots. But they're trying to make us small. You don't do this one thing, we don't like you. And since we don't like you, we're going to kill you if necessary or if possible, right? You see them bums killing other people on the news, they're not as much now. Sawing people's head off, right? There was one group. This was from a khutbah way back when we showed a picture. It was 6 guys. These are the guys that was killing a Korean or a Japanese guy they captured in Iraq. And the guy was jumping around and wanting to live and everything. And when you looked at these guys, hey, I used to live iron all the time, and I know what it takes to be. These was white boys, because you could see their neck, and you could see, you know what I mean? If you lift iron, you know what it takes to get a chest like that, right? Right? I'm just trying to tell you. And then the other thing is, one of them was wearing gold, real gold. There's that gold right. Now, he's a boy, he can't wear no gold. The girls can, isn't that right? You can wear silver and all of that. So we knew they wasn't Muslims. But they was killing other people using the flag of Islam. We don't want to have nothing to do with them bums. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Dear brothers, I just got some more glasses, but I have to go back and get some more. These I see better than the ones last week, but they're inferior to hopefully the ones I get will be back on the money. So if I make a mistake or so squinting. When you're healthy, you think certain things. I remember on 8th Street when I needed some glasses. just reading glasses. This is 25 years ago. So I was giving khutbah, and I was holding the Quran way back. Somebody should have told me. Everybody, that's when there's a lot of people. They should have just told me, hey, man, you need glasses. A regular, you can get 2 pair for $90 right around the street. Right? Isn't that right? And I'm sitting up there. I got the Quran way out and all. I'm holding it up to the light. Then I just thought to myself, not that I'm slow, but I said, maybe I need glasses. But it never occurred to me I needed glasses. But so if you just bear with me here a minute. But anyway, we kind of be amusing. I know y'all haven't seen this, but we had this shirt made a few years back. Boss man bites the dust. It's going to be a short khutbah, but I just wanted to remind you, this is maybe the 50th time, because this is my favorite subject. Boss man bites the dust. And we use this term because I'll tell you a story. When I was in the penitentiary up at McNeil Island, it's up there in Washington. And coming from California, we didn't talk with guards much. We said the police is the police. Da, 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 da. And then I noticed all those southern Negroes from back here and down south, they could get anything they wanted from the dumb police. You know why? Simple term. They wasn't bootlicking, they knew what to do. Down here they called boss man. All the people was boss man. One down. You know what it means? You got to go to the bathroom, and when he come by, you just say one down. You know what it means? What it means. You can make up your mind there. So anyway, the old Negroes from the South always referred to the dumb guards, and they were dummies, as boss man. Boss man, y'all got the refrigerator back there. I'd like to maybe make a few sandwiches. They want to make 200 beef sandwiches to sell, which they would go through, they got people around here that did that. They would, there's some roast beef or something back there. They want to slice it up. They want to make sandwiches, and they want to make $100,000 per sandwich. Not really. In those days, just $2 a sandwich. Big old, people in there starving to death, so you just go down. The guards would let them go down the tier with the whole thing. The only thing the guard would demand, I say, 3 of us here, how about we get 5 of them sandwiches? The guards. So, of course, I got 200 to sell, and I got to give y'all 4 or 5. Hey, have an extra. Take 6. So those southern Negroes would always refer to the guards as boss man. Boss, like the boss, giving him his propers. You running this show. Boss man, you in charge. And the Negro could get anything he wanted just by calling the dumb police boss man. And then they'd be talking. They'd go into their southern thing. Deep South, a lot of them Negroes on the chain gang and all that. And now they're in the federal penitentiary. It was nice, but they still remembered. Boss man, let me go back there in the kitchen and get a whole crate of them raisins back there. What you gonna do with them raisins? I ain't gonna do nothing with that. I just gonna just like raisins. That goes to the Negroes, raisin jack, you know what I mean? And, they're getting drunk. The brothers would be drunk half the time. and the guard is producing whatever. Anyway, let me get on back to so boss man bites the dust. That means boss man, the system, is having trouble. Anybody notice that? System can't do nothing right. The system is tripping all over itself right now. So we have been of that mind all along. You can remember it. And boss man not only is biting the dust, that boy done bit the dust. I mean, he can't do nothing right. But that relates to the human reality or the creation reality. Everything goes through a process. Generally, it's birth, growth, decline and death, those 4 stages. So most things are born. A tree is born when it pops out of the seed, we're born. So, and then we're born and then we grow. And we gather strength and knowledge and information. Then you do like me, decline. I used to run marathons, lift plenty of iron, box, everything. But you go in, I'm not dead, but you go into a decline. You can't do the same thing you used to do, right? You just can't do it. You might want to do it, but I don't even want to do it. When you get at a certain age, you don't want to do that no more. You say, well, let me walk up the hill. One walk up the hill and back down, that's plenty of exercise. All that iron, don't mess with it. Just take the little elastic stuff they got now. That's enough for me, 77 years old. You think I want to run a 26-mile marathon? I used to. I don't want to run it no more. It just don't make sense now. Anyway, the thing is about development. You're born. Birth is true of everything in existence. Then growth gets bigger, solid, expands. Then start going into a decline. And then it dies. That's all written for every one of us right here. Right now we might be in the mid-stage, still expanding a little, still growing a little. Some of us slide into a decline. We don't see as good. We ain't fast as we used to be. Okay, that's all right. Eventually we'll be gone, physically gone. Ain't gonna be nothing left of you physically. The only good things you're gonna leave behind is your good deeds. You see what I mean? Why not make use of them? Dear believers, this is the greatest opportunity. Anything in creation, the animals don't have this opportunity. The fish probably don't have this opportunity, But the fish, the animals, you read the hadith. The fowl of the air, the fish of the sea, would be making dua that a knowledgeable man, right? A learned personality. Why would the fish, people in the early days probably couldn't imagine why the fish going to be making dua for a knowledgeable man, because nobody knew at that time that there'll come a time when the human being could pollute the whole ocean, plasticize the ocean, so the fish should be dying of hunger, but he ain't hungry because he didn't fill up all that plastic in his, right? You see it every day. The human being, you and I, are those things that the animals even was making dua for. A knowledgeable human being. Because a human being messed up the earth, and it's going to take a human being to rescue the earth. Isn't that right? I want you all to think about that now. Look. You watch the news. Everywhere today, the people in Europe is burning up, right? See, Europe, they don't have no air conditioning because it never got warm or hot in Europe. Maybe one hot day out of the year. And now the people are burning up in Europe. You may not believe it, up in Canada, way up in Canada. Last year, I think it was about 110 degrees, 111 degrees. Way up in Canada, not down close to the U.S. The trees cannot stand this world that we're living in. The animals can't stand it. Don't you think the animals and everything is praying in their own way, right? Their own form of communication with their Creator, right? Relieve us from this. We got to get some food back in the ocean, not the plastic within. Here, people is dying, not people, but fish, all of them is dying. Why? Because they got a belly full of plastic. Okay, in science, you and I, the human being, Allah gave us so much ability. So, we say let's use that ability. Let's use that ability to rebalance the earth. Why rebalance? Because how did Allah create this earth and the universe? With wazan, with mizan, balance. Isn't that right? What's wrong with the earth now? It's out of balance. And, of course, I'm from California, and they burn up every... the governor 2 years ago, it was so many fires in California that he was just crying. When they had that Paradise Fire, he said, this is too much. So, in closing, I'm not going to read all the ayats we got here. Don't worry, we got plenty. But I want to say this. Dear believers, Allah gave us ability to fix the problem in the world. You know why? Animals didn't make the problem. Birds didn't make the problem. Fish didn't make the problem. Who made the problem? Human beings. Isn't that right? We are human beings also. So let's cooperate with creation. Let's cooperate with creation and make this a better world, not just for the Muslims, but for the whole world, for the birds that fly up there, right? For the lions and tigers in the jungle, for everything that's living, they got a right to live in a world that Allah created for them, and He put us here as the crown of creation, the best part of creation, because we can do something about it. Animals can't do anything about it. That's why they probably don't, well, heaven or hell, they got their own hookup, which we don't know nothing about. But they don't have the ability to fix this. Isn't that right? And you and I do. And I will close with this. Imagine the world we live in. The people are born into a world where, well, you used to, before people get married, you'd have wedding parties and buy them stuff. And now think, the kids, when they graduate from college, they owe the government $50,000, $100,000, maybe more if they become a doctor or something. Can you imagine you start your life out in debt? This is insanity. Before, when you started your life out, if you got married, everybody, think about all y'all's customs, would bring stuff by to give you a good send-off. Isn't that right? Now they ain't got nothing to bring you. Tell the truth. They ain't got nothing to bring you because they ain't got nothing. because boss man done spin it all up. O Allah, we seek thy refuge from anxiety and grief. We seek thy refuge from lack of strength and laziness. We seek thy refuge from cowardice and niggardliness. And we seek thy refuge from being overpowered by debt and the oppression of men. O Allah, suffice us with what is lawful. Keep from us what is prohibited. With thy grace, make us free from want of what is besides. Ameen. Any comment?